In this training, we will discuss the value of Sertoma forms that clubs need to fill out and report to Sertoma headquarters. Who fills them out, when they are due, how to submit, but most importantly, why. Sounds exciting, doesn't it? Well, let's get started. In order for Sertoma Incorporated to provide the umbrella 501c3 tax exemption to our local clubs, it must demonstrate to the IRS that it knows what its subordinate clubs are doing and if they are in compliance with IRS regulations. If Sertoma cannot show the IRS they know what the clubs are doing, the IRS can remove the umbrella exemption that Sertoma has, and thus the clubs will also lose it. Your club must have this exemption to raise funds for charitable purposes. How does Sertoma prove to the IRS that its clubs are doing what they should be doing? Well, it's by having these reports on file for the IRS to review on demand. Let's say Sertoma has approximately 300 or so clubs, and only 100 of them submit the required forms. The IRS most likely would determine that Sertoma has no idea what most of their clubs are doing, and thus withdraw the 501c3 exemption, and thus your club would lose the ability to raise funds. So, who fills out the Sertoma forms? Well, obviously, the club secretary completes all the reports. However, the secretary must work with the club president and the club treasurer to make sure that the data submitted is accurate and complete. The president should review the forms before it is submitted, and the club's board of directors needs to make sure that all reports are submitted on time, as it is the board of directors that officially runs the business of the club. Where can these forms be found? All forms can be found online at sertoma.org. They're located in the Club Resources section of members.sertoma.org. If you have trouble finding them, just call Sertoma headquarters, and whoever answers will be able to guide you to the right spot. So, which forms should be filled out and submitted in a timely manner? Let's talk with the Membership Information Form 115 first. Use this form to record changes in contact information and the status of a club member. Be proactive and ask your members at least once a quarter if their email address or residential address has changed, or if their phone number has changed. For correct dues billing from Sertoma, this form must be received by noon on the last business day of each quarter. In other words, by noon of the last business day prior to September 30th, December 31st, March 31st, and June 30th. But remember, member address changes can be submitted at any time. The next form we'll take a look at is Form 116. Again, this report can be found at sertoma.org, Annual Activities Report. This report shows your club's fundraising, hearing health activities, volunteerism, community service hours, etc. This is the report that replaced the old quarterly activities report. You now only have to fill it out once a year, and it's due at Sertoma headquarters by November 15th of each year. And this is the important form that the IRS would want to audit if they come in to audit Sertoma's books to see if Sertoma knows what all of its clubs are doing and are in compliance. Next, the club officer reporting form. This form shows changes in club contact information, such as new officers, meeting times, etc. It must be received by April 10th each year or any time club information changes. Why April 10th? Well, it's a major task to update the member directory for over 300 clubs by the start of a new fiscal year, so it's nice to have the information as early as possible. If your club selects officers after April 10th, then be sure to submit this information as soon as possible after new club leaders have been selected. What else? Well, there are several other non-Sertoma reports that need to be filed each year by Sertoma clubs. For example, the IRS Form 990. Which Form 990 should you use? Well, a general rule of thumb is you may use the 990N if all club income is $50,000 or less. That's dues, fundraising, etc. Every amount of money that your club brings in If the total is less than $50,000, you may use the 990N postcard. 990EZ if your club income is over $50,000. The full 990 should only need to be used if your club conducts casino nights with real money, raffles for expensive items such as cars, vacations, etc. Contact Sertoma headquarters if you're not sure if you need to file the full 990. Most clubs can use the 990N, and it is done online at irs.gov. Takes about 5 minutes to complete. Most Sertoma clubs' fiscal year runs July 1 through June 30th. Some clubs have another fiscal year, and if that is your case, then your 990 is due 5 months and 15 days after the end of your fiscal year. Otherwise, for most clubs, it is due by November 15th. Your state should notify you if you have to file an annual or a biannual nonprofit incorporation report. And some states may require a charity registration. Again, your Secretary of State should be able to guide you on this if your state requires it.